Yavapai Broadcasting and the City of Cottonwood proudly present Inside Cottonwood, an inside look at the decisions and issues of the City of Cottonwood. Brought to you by Arizona Smile Designers. Here's Cottonwood City Manager Doug Bartosh.
Hello, and welcome to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, also your city manager. And we're here today with Lana Tollison, who is the president of the Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce, and also Casey Rooney, who's our economic development director in the city, and executive director of the Cottonwood Economic Development Council, and anything else?
The Arizona Wine Growers Association.
That's right. Arizona Wine Growers Association.
Couple things.
Yeah. So it's good. You know, and we thought it would be good to get together and talk about what the economy's doing right now. We are seeing some growth. I think it's probably relatively slow, but that may be a good thing as well, so that we get into it kind of slow. But you know, and just start off to give you an idea of what we're seeing at the city is we are. The development that we have going on is not only commercial, but also residential too, which we all thought was going to take a time to recover. But we're almost double over what it was last year, and we were probably double over the year before last year as well. So we are seeing some real improvement. And Casey can probably get into some of the specifics in terms of the projects that we have coming up here. What are we seeing?
Well, of course, you know, I run the Business Assistance Center in Old Town, and we have a lot of new training classes coming up. We've got 7 classes coming up in the next two months. There's a Photoshop class, Excel, Advanced Excel, promoting your business, social media, how to start a business, preparing 10 steps for a business plan. So we're helping the entrepreneurs in the community get off the ground. One of the big, huge projects that's really going to affect the whole community and the whole region is State Route 260. There's a big push right now. That is a $40 million project, State Route 260. They've committed, I believe it's $7 million right now to do the studies for the project. But we as a community have to have a whole lot of focus on State Route 260 because that is the lifeblood for Cottonwood and Jerome and Clarkdale. Without 260 being widened, it's going to limit the amount of smart growth that we can have in our community. So that's a big, huge project. A fun project that's going on right now is the Predator zip line out on 260. That is going to be taking off here pretty soon. That's a zip line where you fly over, out of Africa, over the lions and the tigers and the bears, and that's going to be awesome. That's going to be taking off pretty quick. Within the next month, that'll be in operation. And we, the City of Cottonwood, the Verde Valley Regional Economic Organization, brought together a revolving loan fund, and we're lending them $150,000 to finish that project and get it going. That's going to bring a lot of people to our community. Larry Green Hyundai is, you know, I drove by there this morning to see it, and it's well on its way. It's going to be a nice facility. Discount Tire on 12th and Main Street. I drove by there again this morning just so I knew what I was talking about this morning. And I would say within the next month or two, they'll be up and running. We're talking to a Tractor Supply store with possibility coming into town. They're building one right now in Prescott Valley. It'd be a neat project here. I know the mayor's husband is all excited about this because he's into tractors. Old Town, we've got the parking lot that's going to be taking off here pretty soon. At the Old Town Jail, don't want to, you know, take over your side of it, but the tea room is open at the Old Town Jail. Now the city owns that building. We're renting that out. We're bringing in revenue for the city and the taxpayers. Beautiful place, beautiful garden in the back. Everybody's got to go check that out. Fire Mountain Wine is Jamie Fulmer, who used to be the chair of the Yavapai Apache Nation. He's going to have a new tasting room in Old Town. Bocce wood-fired pizza restaurant is going to be opening before too long. I think they're really kind of waiting for the parking lot across the street to be in place. I noticed Chubby Chuck's is opening a place in Old Town, right on the edge of Old Town. The Southwest Wine Center at Yavapai College are going to be planting 3 more acres of vines this weekend. That's a huge deal for Cottonwood and the whole Verde Valley. Maynard Keenan is opening a new tasting room. It's going to be called 4-8 Tasting Room. Like, I think we're the 48th state in Arizona. Arizona is the 48th state. So he's using that. Maynard is great, again, for our community, the whole Verde Valley. Well, I'm going to stop there because I could go on forever. I know Lana's got things to say, and I'll just stop there. But I can't stop yet. One more thing.
Go right ahead.
Okay, one more thing. I talked to people yesterday just to get a feel for what they think is going on in the economy. I talked to Brian Sawyer, who's a member of our Rotary Club, and he said he's seeing and it's Butler Levitt Insurance. He told me he's seeing a 10% increase in his activity. And I think that's a barometer of what's going on in the whole economy. I talked to Mike Weiss, who is a real estate broker. He's a member of the Cottonwood Economic Development Council. He gave us all handouts and showing that there's growth in sales, growth in the prices that are going up in housing and commercial property. That's looking good. All the indicators are starting to look pretty good. Jay Stuckey, who owns the Republic Companies, a partner with Brookfield Homes and Verde Santa Fe, he's seeing more activity. Brookfield Homes is all excited about getting things going again. So the trends are looking good. Of course, I'm an eternal optimist. Even when things are bad, I was optimistic, but it really does look good now.
Well, and some of the optimism was we continue to see some great things go on in Cottonwood during the recession period, even though we did see some bad stuff happen too. But, you know, and I think that's some of what we're seeing as well. And Lana, you're probably aware of this, where there's businesses that go out, but it seems like somebody's coming in right behind them to take over that spot.
That's true. I agree with Casey. I'm also an optimist. Yeah. There are businesses that are going out, but there are many businesses that are coming in. And I've been told by bankers and engineers, third quarter is when we're really going to start seeing the activity that's occurring now. I know Allegra Printing is printing a lot of blueprints, so that's exciting that we're seeing a business that is seeing a big impact from what is on the way. And we do have some businesses closing, but like Renegade's closed, Keensay is opening up May 15th. So a lot of people are starting to look at Cottonwood, and not just Old Town. We have some amazing things happening in Old Town, but it's starting to spill out into the remainder of the community. And pretty much every business I speak to, they're busy. They're needing employees. There are jobs out there that are available right now if people are looking for employment. So that's exciting.
Well, let's go ahead and take our first break because Casey used up almost the whole first part of the show. But let's take our first break, and then we'll come back and talk some more about how we're expanding. Come back.
8,000 Arizona men, women, and children battle the often debilitating impact of multiple sclerosis every day. You can help find a cure. Register today for Arizona's premier cycling event, Bike MS Ride the Vortex, May 18th and 19th, presented by Sam's Club. You choose the distance that's best for you, from 30 to 150 miles. Proceeds fund research that can make a difference. For information and to register yourself or your team, visit www.bikemsarizona.org.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, and we're here with Lana Tullison from the Chamber and also our Economic Development Director, Casey Rooney. And we're talking about what the economy is looking like here in the city of Cottonwood, and it really is looking up. And we were talking before the break about Old Town and kind of the impact that's had on the rest of the city. You want to talk a little more about that, Lana?
Well, we have focused on Old Town because when we're promoting Cottonwood, that's something that we can promote, you know, just like walking down the streets of Old Town or like walking down Main Street in the 1950s. They're great family-owned, non-franchise stores, and there's food. It's walkable. It's a great, relaxing experience. And people come, they look at Old Town, and then they see other things. So we're not only having growth in Old Town, we're now having growth out in the rest of Cottonwood too, and that's what we're really focused on. We have a lot of opportunities for tourism with Blazing Elm and the train and Out of Africa and the new zip line, and we're actually becoming a venue for live music. We have a number of places around the community that are starting to offer live music on weekends, and people are starting to come specifically to hear live music.
You know, and it's interesting because at least once or twice a month, since I live in Old Town, I'll go down and walk around and go in the tasting rooms and listen to music. And it is amazing how many people I meet that are from outside the city. I mean, last time I was out, I met a couple from Kentucky that were out here for the second time. People from your home state, Texas. And a lot of what I hear is, God, this is a great community. I'd love to live here. And particularly young people from the Phoenix area come up and say that exact. I'd love to move up here and live here, or at least have a second home up here. And certainly that, if you get people to actually do that, that drives the rest of the economy.
There are people that are moving here. We're like every day coming in the visitor center. There's people who walk in and say, we've been here on vacation for a number of years, now we're looking at moving here. Or they're saying, we just moved here, we need information, or they're calling. So we're seeing a steady increase in the number of people who are moving here. And a lot of them are bringing jobs with them. They're not traditional jobs. They may be jobs where they can work at home. And that's great. We need employment, we need high-paying jobs to support things like our schools. We need more kids sitting in our classrooms so our schools have more funding.
You know, and that's something that I know you're big on, Casey, is we've got some great community assets here that once people do get here and they begin to learn more about the community, they realize what those assets are. And you might want to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah. You know, you think about it, our medical center alone. I mean, that is the medical center for the Verde Valley. And there's no reason why anybody would hesitate to move here because of the medical facilities not being adequate. They're perfectly adequate. Our educational system's great, all the way from K all the way up. Yavapai College is doing a great job, and they now have the Southwest Wine Center. And matter of fact, they're going to be planting 3 acres of grapes this weekend, so there's going to be a lot of community volunteers out working on that. That is infrastructure. That is quality of life. Those are assets. Our rec center is amazing. You know, anytime somebody comes to town, they want me to show them around from an economic development perspective. I go right to the rec center. I'll drive right by the medical center, show them that. We're starting to have a better balance in our economy. It's not all about wine. It's not all about medical. It's not all about housing, but you put those together and you add industry, business and industry and commercial activity, you got a balanced community. And that's what we really need in this community. We need better jobs, better quality of life, and more wealth for our citizens, and that's what a balanced economy does. So, and then you throw in the most amazingly beautiful area that we live in. It's going to be just a natural draw. People, like you mentioned, are coming here now. I'll walk around in Old Town. Every day I take a walk through Old Town, and I look at license plates. They're coming in from everywhere. It's great.
And I notice it's usually you have a cookie in your hand.
And a cup of coffee.
And a cup of coffee. Here, cheers.
Yeah, he's got a great job. So what are you seeing in the way of people coming into the chamber? Because I know you guys get a lot of visitors there. Are they mostly tourists? Are they people who are looking to find a place to live or do business?
We have a little bit of both. One of the main places tourists are coming from right now are Canada. And it's, you know, you look at our visitor log and where people sign in, and it's Canada, and a lot of Northwestern, well, they want to get out of the cold and come here where it's nice. And we do see people coming in. Our membership is up. People are coming in almost on a daily basis saying, I want to join the chamber, I want to be involved, because they know that they can see what we're doing. We're creating waves around the state on how Cottonwood and the whole Verde Valley partner together. We work very well together with tourism, economic development, quality of life, water issues. We're trying to work together to show everyone this is where you need to come, but we want responsible growth. We want people who come here to understand what Cottonwood is all about. We're not a big city, but we are progressive in wanting good jobs for people, a very good education system, great medical community, and we're getting those kind of things. One thing I am seeing also, and you can always tell, you know, the effect that your marketing is having by the amount of journalists and travel writers who want to come here and experience for themselves. They're hearing it from other people, so they want to come. So we've got them coming from Mexico and Canada and Oklahoma and
Germany.
California and Germany. And we have travel writers coming all the time. I've got 2 coming in the next 2 weeks that want to come see what they're hearing about. So we show them, we give them opportunities. We tell them all of the different things we have to offer, and some of them pick Blazing M, some of them pick the train, some of them pick out of Africa, they pick Old Town or wine, and we show them what they're interested in seeing. Even retirement, we've had someone come and want to check out our retirement community. So,
you know, and that's I think it's important, and we're going to take another break and we'll come back, but this just didn't happen. I mean, there was an actual plan. I mean, we've been through several economic development plans with a lot of great people in the community helping make this happen. And so when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about how that has transpired over the years. Yeah. So again, come back and join us on Inside Cottonwood and learn more about our economy.
Having a fire escape plan is very important to keep your family safe and together in the event of a fire. When you awake to the sound of a smoke detector and smoke in your room, don't stand straight up. Carefully roll off your bed and stay low under the smoke. If your door is shut, feel the door with the back of your hand. Slowly open the door if no heat is felt. Always stay low until you get to the outside of your home. Always have 2 ways out of your house and a specified meeting place somewhere outside your home. Home escape plans should be drawn up and rehearsed on a regular basis. This could be the difference between life and death if caught in a fire.
Welcome back to Inside Cottonwood. I'm your host, Doug Bartosh, and we're here with Lana Tollison from the Chamber and Casey Rooney from our Economic Development Department. And we're talking about what the economy's doing here in Cottonwood, which basically is all pretty good news. But as the economy has grown over the last several years, before the break, we were talking about it wasn't an accident. I mean, we just didn't go out there and do it and hope that it worked. I mean, there has been a plan all along. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, 4 years ago, we were working with Arizona Public Service, APS, and they helped fund a study, and it became our 5-year economic development strategy. So we're 4 years into our economic development strategy, but before that we were doing planning, and it was Focus Future. Our plan is Focus on Success. Before that it was Focus Future. And we've had like 3 different strategies, not strategies, but levels of foundational levels to get to where we are today. So it goes back 10, 12 years that we've been planning to get to where we are today. And once we get to where we are today, we look beyond to where we're going into the future. So the next step is our branding. So we're going to work on our brand for the city. Our brand kind of happened, it happened before I ever got here, before probably any of us got here. And it wasn't really a planned brand, it just sort of happened. And Cottonwood has evolved. Now our plan, our economic development strategy was very planned, but our brand wasn't. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start working on our branding for our community. And that's just another step in the whole planning process. So we have focus areas in our plan, and the next step is branding. So that's where we're heading with this thing.
You know, and it really is a great idea. And I think in any kind of a market now, you've got to have a brand that people recognize, and that when people think of Cottonwood, I mean, that brand's got to elicit that thought of what is Cottonwood and why do I want to be a part of it.
And at one time, our brand wasn't a very pretty brand. I mean, people looked at us like, ooh, I don't want to go there.
Right.
Now they look at it and they go, I want to go there.
Yeah.
And that was not really a very well-planned brand, but I'm not going to argue with that, but we want to take it to the next level and have it really, people understand what our brand is all about throughout the whole state.
You know, and the branding and both the economic development plan is probably a great example of what a really great relationship the city and the chamber have. Mm-hmm. And talk a little bit about that, how that works from your perspective, Lana.
Well, we work very closely hand in hand. We do a lot of planning, a lot of strategy. I sit on this Cottonwood Economic Development Council, so we try to look overall what affects the city, the economic development, tourism, the businesses, and we all work very closely. We all sit a lot on the same committee, so we go from one committee to the next depending on what the topic is, but we all look at how do we work together, who's got the resources. You know, I may not have them, you may have them, so let's combine resources and work very closely together. And I always tell travel writers or anyone, if you have a question, call any one person, call me, and I'll get you in touch with people, or call Doug. Right. You'll get us. You know, we all play very nicely together, as has been said. Yeah. So,
you know, and I think one of the questions that anybody looking at doing a business here would ask is Cottonwood a business-friendly place to come to? And I mean, what kind of feedback do you get on that?
I would say it's definitely business-friendly. It starts with the Business Assistance Center and the help that you can receive through the city at the Business Assistance Center. And the city collects the 3% bed tax and contracts with the Chamber of Commerce to use that for tourism and economic development. So there's a lot of working together and business. I know that we do a lot of things to help businesses and sorry, I'm drawing a blank, Doug. I know. So help me on what you're wanting.
Well, I think the important thing is, just like we talked about how the city does contribute the bed tax. Yes. and it's not, I mean, as long as I've been here, there's never been anything but a cooperative relationship. Absolutely. Between the chamber and the city, because we both recognize that if you're successful, we're successful, and vice versa. And I think that's what's absolutely critical.
Well, and our job is to help businesses be healthy. And if businesses are healthy, then they have customers coming in that are keeping them economically viable. and they collect the sales tax that then goes back into the city budget that helps with all the city infrastructure. So it is a big cycle that the more we work together, the more we have businesses that do stay in business, that, you know, those employees have children that are in our school system. And so it all works in the entire community. And that's why it's very, very important to work together.
You know, and I don't think we can talk economic development without talking about buying local.
Absolutely.
And you want to talk a little bit about that and what the Chamber's been doing to try and promote that?
Well, we've been doing a number of things. One kind of branding that we did is rediscover the Verde Valley. We're just talking about if people that live here could just get out and see what products are in our local community. And if you buy something from a local business, then your friend or neighbor who works at that store will have a job. And then they're able to keep their kids in our school, so our teachers actually have jobs and we don't have to cut back our schools because there's not enough students. So every time you buy something locally from someone that, you know, that lives right here in our community instead of over the internet, then you're giving your friend an opportunity to make a living and, you know, buy shoes for their kids, or, you know, you're supporting our police department, our parks. But more, you're just giving your neighbor, your family member an opportunity to have a job. And that's what it's all about. We all like to go out of town. We all do it, and that's great. But we like for people to think first, when they're looking for something, is it available in one of the stores here locally, Cottonwood or the Verde Valley, so that we can keep as much of that money local, and then that money turns over and it helps our economy. And that's what keeps our economy strong, by dollars being spent here locally.
And certainly with the cost of gas these days, if you can find it local, it's probably a lot cheaper than going somewhere else to buy it. So.
And you've got that smiling person there helping you. So.
Absolutely. One of the things that brought me to Cottonwood was the great people around here, so it's definitely the thing to do. So I know we have some, you've mentioned a couple of new businesses opening up. You know, I know some of them that I've experienced. I went to dinner at the schoolhouse last night.
Very nice.
You know, fantastic. Had to get reservations to get in, but they're doing a great job. Kinsey, you mentioned that, Discount Tire.
The new tea room.
New tea room, Bocce's, the pizza place, anything else. Certainly my kids are involved in a couple, Ink Impression on Mondays doing a grand opening, and then the main stage. And,
yes.
And I think you were in there this morning.
I did. I stopped by there this morning, went in, and it blew me away. I mean, it's a beautiful facility. They're doing a good job of fixing that place up. And right down the street is the Chaparral Bar. You know, I mean, you drive by there and it's such a transition. They've remodeled it. It's beautiful. I've never been in there, but I'm gonna have to stop in one of these days and check it out. You know, it's really inviting now.
You should, because you know, the thing that they've kind of capitalized on, and I don't know if you remember this, but they had a bobcat visit them one time, and so they've kind of capitalized on that. They got national attention for it when the bobcat walked in, and I don't know if it ordered a drink, but it got great attention. Yeah. So, yeah, fantastic stuff going on, and I think it is really interesting to see these new businesses come up. And I think you mentioned it. It seems like what we're seeing in Old Town is expanding throughout the city now, which is really positive for all of us.
Well, you know, I think, you know, we work for government and the chamber, and you know, sometimes it bothers me to think that there's people out there that think government is the enemy. A lot of the services we provide in this community wouldn't be provided if it wasn't for government, and I think our government bends over backwards to be business friendly. You know, we're encouraging entrepreneurs and small businesses and people to live locally and buy locally, and you know, we don't squander taxpayers' resources. So I think that's another asset in our community is I know that people have a hard time believing it, but government can be your friend, and I think in Cottonwood we are.
Well, and again, I think, and to look at that on the reverse side, I mean, we obviously as government depend very much on business and small business in particular, and it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we are business friendly so that we can provide the quality of life, help to provide the quality of life that people expect to have when they live in a nice community like this. You know, we're unfortunately out of time because I know we could go on and talk about this for quite a while, but I want to thank Lana and thank Casey for joining us today, and hope you come back and join us again on Inside Cottonwood.